Hi, and welcome everybody to this afternoon. I am Robin Doty, and I will be your moderator for this session. I would like to thank our gold sponsor, Act On, who is presenting this session. We really appreciate their support of our B2B forum online. And of course, in addition to this presentation, they have a lot of materials to check out in their booth in the Resource Center. So, of course, please stop by their booth and say hello. And also, of course, visiting them will earn you a badge and maybe even a Starbucks gift card. So let's meet our presenters and dive into their session. Please welcome Carol Adkison and Andy Rice, who are presenting B2B Superpower, Building Better Customer Journeys with Marketing Automation, of course, presented by Act On. Carol Adkison is the Director of Marketing Operations at Act On Software, the leading growth marketing automation platform. With a passion for process, systems, analytics, Carol focuses her expertise on helping marketing teams increase efficiency in lead processes and pipeline creation through data-driven insights. And Andy Rice, is a demand generation leader who's been building and executing marketing campaigns for over a decade. At Act On, he's focused on helping organizations build better marketing programs, personalized prospect and customer experience in a scalable way. So thank you, Carol and Andy, so much for being here with us today. Are you ready for us to watch your presentation?
Yeah, absolutely.
Great.
Enjoy.
Yeah. So we'll have our Q&A at the end. And of course, throughout the session, you're more than welcome to use the chat and to chat with our speakers or use the Q&A to ask questions. But now let's watch your presentation.
All right. Well, I'm super excited to talk about this with you guys today. This is a topic that's near and dear to my heart. And yeah, why don't we just jump in if that's all right with you, Carol?
Yeah, that sounds great. Let's get going.
All right. So just a quick overview of what we're going to be talking about today. We are going to be looking at an overview of sort of nurturing and marketing automation in general. We'll talk you through sort of the modern marketing growth funnel and what that means and kind of how it's changed over time. We're going to talk about best practices for defining your goals, segmenting your audiences, and scoring the different behaviors that can sort of create a good lead nurturing program, and how to align content to different personas and make sure that you are nurturing them in the right way at each sort of customer journey stage as they go through. So yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it.
All right.
All right. I'll take this one. So let's just level set right here and start with a quick overview of what marketing automation is. I think of it real simply. It's a platform that consolidates, creates, and automates, right? That keyword, a number of different marketing initiatives that you as marketers can use to segment and nurture prospects and customers with highly personalized, relevant content, right? And what marketing automation isn't is, I put this here specifically to call out, it is not, as much as we all love email, marketing automation is not like an ESP. It allows you to move past a batch and blast approach and really, again, target and segment and get that personalized message to the right prospect at the right time. And, when I think about this, like, why? So what? Who cares, right? What's the difference between, using a ESP or using a marketing automation platform? There's two stats I wanted to share with you. I found when researching this a little bit. One comes from Business to Community, as data that says organizations that use marketing automation can experience up to, drum roll, wait for it, a 451% increase in qualified leads. Who wouldn't want that as a marketer, right? Here's another one. 69% of marketers feel that marketing automation improves the targeting of their messages, according to a 2017 survey from Liana Technologies. The one on this screen here that speaks to me is that, middle one, 59% of marketers find that marketing automation improves the user experience. We're all trying, no matter what your role is within marketing, to try to improve that overall user experience. So in the B2B world, I think too, kind of tying this to lead nurturing that we're going to talk a lot about today. The goal of lead nurturing, I think, is not to convince somebody to buy something right away, right? It's in the B2B world, we're preparing them for a sales conversation. And so marketing automation really allows you to create workflows and nurture leads to warm up those prospects. And again, like have that personalized, relevant messaging that you're going to need to convert your buyer into a paying customer.
Yeah. And I would say, just in general, I take, and I think Acton as a whole takes like a pretty broad view of what we count as lead nurturing and marketing automation. It's more than just, sending an email every 5 or 6 days, but really being able to understand where somebody is in the buying process or in their own education process, who they are, what their interests are, and serving up an experience that both, gets them prepared for a sales conversation, but also helps them on their journey of, in whatever way you can. Just deliver amazing experiences.
Yeah.
Every step if you can. Which brings me to, I think my favorite bit here is the modern marketing growth funnel. I love talking through this because it's not a funnel. It is a misnamed modern marketing growth funnel. I think the key thing that I want to take away, I've got some examples here, but the most important thing is that the buyer's journey doesn't end when a deal is closed. Is probably one of the biggest takeaways. That it is less of a funnel and more of an hourglass. I've also seen this done as a bow tie, sort of side to side. But basically, as people progress in their journey, they go through might be considered more traditional marketing and sales stages of awareness, interest, consideration, as they sort of get familiar with your brand, you're educating them about how maybe they can do things better. Eventually they'll show an intent to purchase and then they will make a purchase, but it doesn't, like, the role of marketing doesn't stop there. There's a customer experience on how they adopt your program, retention and expansion. It's easy to forget that, like, marketing does have a role in terms of customer retention and creating wonderful experiences for customers. Things like onboarding and the same motions that you use of automation to nurture people at the top of the funnel. You can use those same tools to create great experiences post-purchase as well. I do have some good examples here, like of what this might look like in a B2B space, for example. Top of the funnel, you're probably searching for information. You're looking for products and reviews. Over time, you may look at and start to evaluate different vendors for whatever you're looking for, get demos, then you negotiate pricing. But then after the purchase, there's onboarding. You can do certifications, becoming proficient. There's the possibility of upsell. And then advocacy is a huge thing. One of the most effective forms of marketing and nurturing, in a sense, is word of mouth from happy customers. And in that situation, it kind of turns into a bit of a flywheel almost of, your happy customers create new activity at the top of the funnel. So I think that's just a mindset that I like to get people to have as we sort of talk through nurturing, that it's this entire life cycle.
Yeah. I love this slide. And I think Andy hit on like this main point too. It's we focus so much sometimes on that handoff between marketing and sales, but then it should come right back around again after that purchase. So, having a close relationship, not only with your sales team, but then your account management team as well. And maybe even your product marketing team and really, and your product team too, right? Understanding like what your product is, your services are, how they're growing and how they're expanding. So you can share that with your current customers and have that all come back full circle. Okay, this next slide, a little bit more on lead nurturing. I think, lead nurturing, again, it's the process that B2B marketers use to really build relationships with their prospects, even when they're not yet ready to buy, right? So we're trying to win their business when these prospects are ready. So why that matters is, I think, in the B2B world with extended buying cycles, leads require a long cycle nurturing process, as you see with some of these stats here. And when you can build a relationship with customers who are already interested in what you have to offer through lead nurturing, this can really lead to huge results for your business, right? We see some of these stats on this, 86.3% of marketers with an established lead nurturing program collectively say that their efforts have been somewhat or very effective in contributing to their pipeline and revenue. So, just an easy way to think about it. And what we want to cover in the last few minutes here is really how marketing automation and lead nurturing can help you plan, build, and deliver a campaign that works, right? That helps you contribute to that pipeline and revenue.
So maybe a good place to start is developing your goals and your buyer profiles, right? You want to set some baseline things like how many people are involved in buying your company's products and services. What does that process look like? How do people respond to your campaigns? And identifying segmentation criteria for messaging. And this is one of the most important things I think that a company can do. And it takes a little bit of self-awareness to understand how your message as a company changes for different groups. Some common examples might be industry or technographics or things like that, where the industry that they're in means that they will use your product in a different way, or that there's a different type of message that will resonate with them. I've been at a company where the state they were in was the most important sort of keystone point of what made them how their message changed because of the laws of that state, right? And so there's a lot of different ways to do that, and you have to do a little bit of soul searching, I suppose, to understand for your business what's the best way to sort of divide up the messaging strategy. And then you want to put together some personas. Who are the key people that might that exist in those spaces? What's their background? What are their challenges and concerns? What are their needs, and how can you meet them? And what are their goals? Those are things that you need to know about any sort of target industry that you want to go after, because that's going to inform how you message them. It's going to inform how you nurture them down the customer journey as well. So that's sort of the first key step, is soul searching and mapping what the message would look like for those different groups.
Yeah. And I would say too, if, this isn't something you have at your company, it's a real fun exercise to really get to know your sales team, because they have a lot of this, right? They're the ones talking to the customers all day. So it can be a really great exercise to do together. And even, look at some of the business you've won in, the last few months or year, and really try to kind of nail down, great, what characteristics did they have to help build a buyer profile or a persona. Developing a lead scoring program. So it's kind of the second step in this process. Lead scoring really makes it easy to sort your prospects into stages based on that funnel. And a good set of scoring rules really helps you send only the most qualified leads to sales, right? That's what they want. You always want to hear, God, those leads you sent me from that webinar were great. They were ready to talk. That's what we want, right? So in order to do this, there's a few things that you can do to think through if this is something you don't have, or this is something that you want to look at. I actually think, doing frequent reviews of your lead scoring program is a really great way to keep things, healthy and help identify problems that you might be having in your pipeline. So, think through what are kind of the top behaviors, the top activities that your prospects are doing, right? You as marketers, we're sending them emails. So yeah, we want them to open them. We want them to click on them, but we're also inviting them to webinars. We're asking them to watch demos, download an ebook. And again, like what Andy was talking about with buyer profiles, you can also look at, do they have a certain job title or a certain demographic or firmographic data that you want to look at, and hey, my target persona is a CFO at a company of this size. Well, you can include that in your lead scoring program. There's a couple different ways you can do it. You can, if you're starting off with nothing, kind of rank those activities from most to least important. So you can see from the screenshot here, right? Like, okay, yeah, clicking on a message, that might give me a point or 5 points or however many points you want to give it. But something real significant, like filling out a form, to download a piece of content or request a demo or something a little more substantial, is going to give you more points. So kind of think about it and assign point values to those different behaviors. You can think of it, kind of top of funnel, middle, bottom of funnel, and, have a threshold of, hey, 50 points or 60 points or more. Those are going to be the ones that I'm going to say are ready for that first, sales conversation. And then just, I think you have to start somewhere, try it out, and really have those frequent conversations with your sales team on, are these folks that we're passing to you ready? Do they want to talk to you? Or are they still kind of in that just checking things out, not quite ready to make a decision? We'll talk about this a little bit later with content, but there's lots of ways you can try to figure out what their intent to buy and readiness is.
Yeah. You can look at the data and make sure that they're converting at a higher rate. You can test different scoring models, include some of that from graphics. One of my favorite things to do is actually this is another great place where you can involve the sales team and ask them, like, hey, what have you had the most success with? Do the people who download this piece of content seem like they're more interested in our service than somebody who downloads this? Get that feedback from the sales team, see who they are excited to follow up with, and make sure that's reflected in here.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Sort of the next step would probably be to create and start aligning content to where it sort of fits best on that customer lifecycle, right? You don't just want to send emails to, as soon as you get somebody's name to send them an email asking if they want to meet with a sales rep. You want to educate them. You want to share with them perhaps the success that other people have found with their problems with your current customers. Use your landing pages to nurture them. And if you use progressive profiling, you can actually gather more information about them over time as they're sort of progressing through the funnel. And it does vary company to company, but I've thrown a few examples of what top and mid bottom funnel stuff might look like. Top of the funnel tends to be more informational content, things like blogs, social media posts, ebooks that help maybe get somebody more knowledgeable about the problem that they're facing. And then once they realize that, maybe your software or whatever you're offering could be the right solution for them, that's when you want to sort of move into case studies, demos, comparison guides. If you're part of a report or something like that shows some positive light, you can share that. And then after purchase, there's still more content along that journey that you should have new customer onboarding, training, and support. You can actually have a post-purchase scoring model if you want to. Do people engage with the service that you're offering? Are they getting value out of it? If not, then maybe that's a good opportunity for like an account manager to reach out and see if they, do a health check, see if they can get more value because you want them to stick around and use your product, and so on. So that's sort of how a traditional way that content might align to the customer journey. But every company has a different customer journey, so keep in mind how people sort of flow through it as you put content together for them.
Mm-hmm. And this is where you're really going to be looking at to attribution. If you can gather that and really kind of build that story and understand this is what a typical customer does or a prospect does before they become a customer, and maybe it's number of touch points or the types of content that they're downloading or coming to you for, that can help build your content library.
For sure.
All right, step 4, setting up your automated programs. So, when you have a marketing automation platform, this is really easy to do. I've got some screenshots here of actually what it looks like within Act On. I think the key here is start with something simple. set your touch points, your content, choose your content, your cadence, and really just keep in mind, the amount of time your leads will need to make a decision, and kind of what cadence you need to adopt to match that process. Think about how much time your leads need to process that information before you ask them to go on and do the next thing. You can also, do a lot of A/B testing in something like this. It's really great. You can figure out, if they've clicked on certain subject line. If not, you can resend it to them a couple days later. We've got lots of examples. We could talk probably for hours on this, this part of the process. But yeah, the last thing is really, Andy will kind of end this, but like allowing your campaigns to evolve over time. Again, start simple, build to that more complex automated program or workflow.
Yeah. Most common mistakes I see is people who have like an 80-step with a bunch of like multivariate things that, from the get-go, just pick one thing, test a couple of different messaging strategies, and then you can kind of evolve it from there. So here's sort of the last step, which is one, measure your results, see how engagement looks, click-through rates, things like that. Is it accelerating the leads through your funnel? And are those nurtured leads turning into opportunities? Another big part of is don't just set and forget it. You want to be testing all the time. You want to try new subject lines, times of day, pieces of content, which ones are converting more. But you also want to test different types of personalization, right? Like, are there different ways that you could segment your audience? You tested out industry, but what about technographics? Is there a type of tool that they're using that actually makes them a better fit for your company? You can constantly sort of test whether or not you've hit the mark in terms of what your sort of messaging breakdown is, and then you expand, right? You want to continue. You can use this methodology for customer loyalty programs. You can do welcome programs and onboarding. You can remarket to people who may have missed you the first time around. So, you sort of start small, and then you can grow it out to become a beautiful, multivariate, always testing, perfect program that delivers amazing content to your customers all the time.
Yep. Sky's the limit. Have fun. Just have fun too.
Have fun with it. For sure. All right. And I think that's it for us. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah, it's been really fun.
Wow, very good. Thank you so much for that presentation. And it looks like we have a lot of really great questions. So we're going to pop over to the Q&A tab. Of course, if you all still want to ask questions, please do, or upvote the ones that are already here, and we'll try to get to those ones first. But it looks like we have a question here from Krista, which says, we plan to bring sales into the process when the lead score reaches a certain value, but we, marketing, believe that the automated messages should continue. Is this the right mindset, or should automation cease when sales gets involved?
I love this question.
Yep.
I do have some thoughts on this. But as I might have been you yesterday said, every answer in marketing is it depends. Unfortunately, but do you think that we have some good sort of guiding lights here, which is it depends on what is included in the automated messages, what's included in the nurture program. So if the content is largely educational, if it's how to do things better, then I don't think that there's any real cost. I think you want to continue to educate people as long as you can, to continue to drive engagement and familiarity with your brand, even during a potential sales process. But on the flip side, there are some nurture programs are specifically kind of built to drive a sales conversation. If you have a nurture program that the goal is to get people to register for a demo or to talk to a salesperson, and it's like kind of based around that outreach, yes, you would want to stop that as soon as they probably hit whatever score threshold or activity that passes them over to the sales team, because then you kind of have two things happening at the same time. Something that I've done before is that there's like ongoing kind of content programs that happen on maybe a weekly or bi-weekly basis, where you share out a new blog or a new paper or something like that that's written, and I think that can continue without too much suppression. But the nurture programs are trying to get people to a salesperson should.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think those are great points, Andy. I would add too, just, as long as you know and really have a clear understanding as a marketer of what that process is too, once sales does get involved, and just so that you're also not repeating yourselves, right? Nobody wants to get an email and then have somebody from sales pick up the phone, call them, and try to sell them the same thing you've been sharing in your emails. So if you can avoid that, I think there's no harm in letting them continue. And like Andy said, if you're kind of educating them on your your product or your services, and it's not going to be repetitive, go ahead and continue. But if you're unsure of what the process is and what sales talks to the customers about, and that it could be repeating information, I would say, stop and really understand what that sales process is, and maybe you can, create a different program or cadence that just, supports what the sales team is talking about.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
The ideal situation is you know exactly what the sales team is talking about. You can actually probably create a new nurture that they automatically go into that sort of supports the sales conversation as they go down. That would be probably the golden standard. Hard to build those.
Absolutely. Cool. So it looks like we have a question here from Kelly, who asked, can you use Act On if you already have an ESP inside our database? What other tactics besides email as involved or are involved?
Yes, you can. And many people do. When I think about what stuff that sort of differentiates an automation platform from an ESP, it's, they do have overlapping functions. They both have emails and things like that. With the automation platform, you probably get things like scoring models, ability to automate sort of multi-stage email programs that do different things based on different criteria or based on different behaviors. Having it be several steps, change the steps based on different segmentation strategies is one thing. Also, text messages, social media, tracking, reporting functionality, they tend to be more advanced in a marketing automation platform. Am I missing anything, Carol?
No, I think that's good. I think kind of the one key differentiator too, though, is when you're using all of those things that Andy just mentioned, emails and SMS and social, it's really nice to have a platform where you can see that all in one place. And that's that's one of the, I think, selling factors of a marketing automation platform versus an ESP. With an ESP, you're getting just the email, and then you've got to go somewhere else for your social, and you've got, and we all do this as marketers, right? We grab from Google Analytics, we're looking in a bunch of places, but I think when you have the ability to consolidate that in one place, it just saves you time, and it's really helpful.
Yeah, definitely. So we have a question here from Lauren, who asked, do you have different scoring systems in place for new sales versus upsells or existing accounts? And if so, how are they different?
I love this. Sorry, I'm jumping in. I just
think loves all questions.
I do love all.
Answer away. We want to hear it.
Yeah. So yes, I think I've seen some amazing scoring models that differ. There's a lot of, if you're at the top of the funnel, scoring usually revolves around engagement with activities, maybe some behaviors that align to openness to a sales conversation and things like that. But once you get into the bottom of the funnel, we actually, you can have different score sheets. At least I know you can Act On, where like, let's say, when was the last time somebody, if you have a platform, when was the last time somebody logged into it? Are they using all of the features of the platform? You can actually create a scoring model that basically says, how much value are people getting out of your platform? How engaged are they with it? Are they using it a lot? And if, let's say you have a trigger that says, if somebody hasn't logged in 6 months, maybe it's time to reach out and say, hey, are you getting value out of this platform? How can I help you do that? So that's a way you can sort of use scoring and say, okay, maybe these people are a potential for upsell. Maybe these people need some account management support in order to get more value out of their platform. If you score behaviors based on how they engage with your product, that's a great way to do it.
Cool. Nice. So it looks like we have a question here from Melissa, who says, often our buyer is not the user, and there also could be multiple users. So we don't always have the user's contact info. So we struggle immensely with helping users with adoption, let alone retention and expansion. Any ideas of how to deal with this?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's key in really trying to get that contact info. I'd really look at
Mhm.
the onboarding process, and make sure that you can figure out a way to capture that, and check in periodically. If there's an account executive or a customer service team, really try to obtain that when you're implementing and onboarding your customer to get that. And then, like Andy said, use the information you're getting with your marketing automation platform and a buyer profile, and setting up a score so you can see and be able to tell, are they engaging, and what do they need help with, if they're not using a certain part of your product. Can you educate them a little bit on how to do that? Invite them to a webinar series just for customers. I think there's lots of different ways you can get it, but I think it starts to with you got to be able to reach them somehow. And if you don't have email and you can't get that in onboarding, I've done many mail them something, let them know, to try to get them to come on. I mean, we're creative, right? We're marketers, so find a way to reach them. I don't know, Andy, have you had success doing other tactics?
Yeah. I mean, it's tough because maybe I don't know the details of the situation. In a perfect world, the best answer would be, as part of the onboarding process, get the user info, and then you can do a lot with that. But if that's not a tenable solution, you can still probably get or hopefully you can get product data about usage, whether or not you have the detailed contact information for people who are using the platform. And maybe the answer is to go through the buyer and say, hey, can we help you? Can you organize the users of your platform, and we can do like a collective training or something like that. As a way to sort of get them in a room at least and talk through stuff and help with retention and expansion.
Yeah, cool. So I think we have time for maybe one more question. So we'll do this one from Andrea. But of course, for the questions that don't get answered, please do, of course, visit Andy and Carol in the Resource Center and visit their booth. But we have this question here from Andrea. Which channels would you consider the most important for the buyer's journey, especially when it comes down to distributing our content?
You want to start, Andy? I don't know. We both.
Yeah, no, I mean, it depends a little bit on I mean, like who your audience is and where they tend to be. Some audiences, maybe they're on LinkedIn, maybe they're on Facebook or something like that. So there's a social element to it for sure. If there is there like a forums that people are gathering in, that's a great place to just be present and to be featuring content. And then there's, I like having a wide variety of channels, because then you can test and see which ones are actually generating the most value for you. So it's kind of hard to say, I think email is a little bit underrated right now. I think there's like a bit of pushback against email, but email is great because it gives you as like a marketer a lot of control about what the story is and when people get messages and the like. Social media is a great place to meet people where they are. Advertising is a great way to build awareness. I mean, what's that old stat? Like somebody needs to see your brand 7 to 15 times before they're willing to engage. So, advertising and things like that are a great way to at least build some brand awareness, and then you can go after them with a more targeted thing. So every channel kind of has its place. But if the best thing to do is to track which channels are actually turning into, are bringing in people that turn into opportunities and close business down the line.
Wow.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Yeah, so I think that actually might be all of the time that we have today. I know that there are still more questions. So again, please visit Carol and Andy and also get more information from them in their booth. So again, thank you so much. You're our gold sponsor, Act On. And thank you for being here for this presentation. We really appreciated it. And it looks like there were a lot of people who had some interesting insights and questions. Whenever this session ends, of course, there will be a little survey that pops up. Please do fill it out, everyone. And every survey that you complete is another entry into, of course, a free Amazon gift card. And in about 10 minutes, there will be our keynote from Jeremiah Omyang, who is going to explain what Web3 is and what it means for marketing, which is very cool. So, of course, everyone, don't miss that. And we're looking really forward to more and more from this B2B forum. Thank you both so much for being here. And thank you, everyone who attended.
Absolutely.
Super
Take
fun.
care, everybody. See you soon.
Yeah, thank you.